Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia establish cash reward programs in flood-affected areas. Tzu Chi volunteers in Mozambique and China organize year-end blessing ceremonies to celebrate a perfect end to 2014. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Nell. Thank you for joining us. In the aftermath of what was considered the worst flooding in decades in Malaysia, now the floodwaters have mostly subsided. Tzu Chi volunteers of the Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter have launched cash reward programs to kickstart recovery efforts in the flood-affected areas. Today, we take a look at the progress made in Pahang and Kelantan states.
Following the floods, many people here in Kuala Krau have been rendered homeless and helpless. Residents waterlogged and muddy furniture and belongings have been discarded alongside the road. As the flooding has left behind a thick layer of mud, volunteers quickly launched a cash for work program to help residents clean up their homes.
I'm a shortage of manpower to help my people, and then your volunteers come to help. Very proud, very happy, and then thanks God,
Local government officials arrived to extend their thanks to Tzu Chi. In Pahang State, more than 1,300 people signed up for the Cash for Work program in 7 locations across 2 cities on the first day alone. They were joined by some 2,000 volunteers from Kuala Lumpur, Kuantan and Malacca.
We have between 3,000 to 4,000 people joining the recovery efforts in 7 locations. It was very challenging, especially overseeing the overall coordination and delegation of tasks. Plus, 2 of the locations were about an hour's drive apart.
Knowing that help has arrived and that they're no longer alone, tears well up in the eyes of residents.
So many people came to share our burden. For those that came to help us, I want to thank all of you.
Tzu Chi's assistance really moved many local residents. I believe more people will come tomorrow. If all 2,000 people arrive, cleanup work in the hard-hit areas will take at least another 3 to 4 days.
Wherever there is disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers cross all religious and ethnic divides to bring love to those who need it the most. A religious representative leads close to 2,000 local residents in sincere prayer. With cleaning tools in hand, Cash for Work participants hop on board 48 trucks and set out for the cleanup sites. Tasked with the mission, today these Cash for Work participants are going to help clean up flood debris at schools, local mosques, recycling stations and markets. If it were not for the help of Cash for Work participants, classes would not have been able to resume as planned at Mahat Muhammadi School.
Tzu Chi Foundation told me that there is cleaning today, so I came to join. It doesn't matter. The people of Kelantan do not distinguish between religions.
Cash for Work participants and Tzu Chi volunteers work together to sweep out the mud and debris from the classrooms.
I'm so thankful and so grateful. It doesn't matter who is providing the assistance. We appreciate it, regardless of who is helping. You're Buddhist, we're Muslim, but that isn't an issue because we are all people of Malaysia.
Regardless of faith and race, everyone just has one goal in mind: to restore the beauty and rich cultural heritage of Kelantan.
Besides established cash reward programs to help those affected by the worst flooding in 30 years, Tzu Chi volunteers also conducted a relief distribution in Denham Merah of Kelantan, helping a total of 366 families.
As the second largest city of the Malaysian state of Kelantan, Tanah Merah also suffered in the recent flood. After securing a local school as a distribution venue, Tzu Chi volunteers proceeded to clean up and unload their supplies. This is already the 3rd trip for these volunteers from Penang, who are mostly entrepreneurs.
We are here to deliver our love and support. Everyone here today is an emissary of the Tzu Chi Foundation.
Setting aside their pride, the volunteers humbly hand over the supplies and help bring a smile to the faces of the distraught flood victims.
I feel very happy because someone out there can empathize with our current situation. We have the heavens to thank.
The village chief also showed up to convey his appreciation personally, as Tzu Chi is the first NGO to offer its assistance.
I'm very grateful for the Tzu Chi Foundation. Thanks to you, those flood victims who are in need of assistance finally have some clothes and food.
Meanwhile, those on the giving end have also gained a lot by helping those in need directly.
No one complained even though our feet were aching from all the work. We don't feel tired at all.
We weren't the only ones who helped out this time. The flood victims themselves have also done what they could, so I think this time is quite special.
The neighboring town of Kuala Karai is also in need of assistance. Having conducted their initial assessment, volunteers will soon return to help the flood victims there recover from the disaster.
Staying in Malaysia, we traveled to both Pahang and Perak to see how Tzu Chi volunteers help flood victims regain their footing following the region's worst flooding in memory.
Early in the morning, Tzu Chi's relief team set off from Malacca for hard-hit Padang Tengku. After a 7-hour drive, volunteers finally arrive at Segumar's clinic.
You have given the flood victims here hope and helped many, especially in this difficult time.
Padang Tengku, like most areas of Pahang, was hit hard by the recent flooding. Throughout, Dr. Sugomar was at the forefront in helping the volunteers carry out disaster assessments in the region. Although the floodwaters have receded, recovery will be slow for many, such as for Mazri, who lost all his wedding gifts.
These were to be given to our guests, but now all we can do is wash them and dry them in the sun. These cakes will have to be thrown away.
With everything from clothing to mattresses still waterlogged, residents wonder when this nightmare will finally be over.
After the military came to help clean up, the Health Bureau will come to disinfect the area. Our home has yet to be disinfected.
Others have already started to clean up with water saved during the heavy rains.
Right after the flooding, we had no running water. So while it was raining, we put our buckets to collect the rain and then used that water to clean our house.
Volunteers not only bring love and care, but also a tasty meal in the form of instant rice.
Without running water or gas, you can still eat it by just adding water.
While in Bota, a small town in Perak's Ipoh, volunteers have been bringing love and care in the form of aid distributions and some good old Tzu Chi songs. With a 90-degree bow, volunteers present their hopes and blessings for the days ahead. Once again, Tzu Chi has shown that, with great love, new beginnings and new partnerships are easy.
Next, meet 5-year-old Guo Zhe and learn why he decided to become a vegetarian after taking part in the musical adaptation of the Sutra of Innumerable Meanings presented by the young volunteers at the Jingsi Books and Cafe in Taiwan. The auntie that does our catering is also a vegetarian, so she puts a lot of thought and effort into selecting the ingredients to make sure each dish is tasty and nutritious.
I have been Zhean's teacher for 2 years. He wasn't a vegetarian yet when he first joined my class. It was only later on in the year that his mother told me that Zhean wished to take on a vegetarian diet. Our vegetarian portions are quite big, so it is enough for him, and he usually finishes everything on his plate. Zhean never asks why he doesn't have this or that on his plate, because he knows what he can and cannot eat. Once the entire class shared a chicken cutlet, and as we were about to cut it in front of him, he said, "It's gross."
In 2013, the Jingsu Books and Cafe were recruiting young volunteers to perform in a sutra adaptation. I had signed up for Zhe'an and his sister. A Tzu Chi uncle explained the meaning of the lyrics to the song in a moment of thinking to them, but I never expected Zhe'an to have such a big reaction to it. When he came back from rehearsals one day, he told me he no longer wanted to eat meat.
我是在电视上看到动物被杀的，我会想哭。
姐姐的部分是她。
One day, Zhe'an's sister also told me she wanted to become a vegetarian. I thought she was joking, so I didn't take her seriously. But she was very adamant and said to me, "Didn't I said I don't want to eat meat anymore? Why are you still giving it to me?" The one time the three of us were chatting and I told Zhe'an that he was already a vegetarian when he was still in my tummy. Then Ziyun asked what about me? Was I vegetarian too? I told her no because I hadn't joined Tzu Chi at the time. And she suddenly burst into tears.
I saw movies of animals being hunted and killed, and that scared me. I also thought of how my mom had eaten meat when she was pregnant with me, and that meat subsequently entered my stomach as well.
我们一起来吃食物。
To celebrate a successful end to 2014, previous to the end of the year, Tzu Chi volunteers in China and Mozambique both held year-end blessing ceremonies in their respective regions. Later, we'll join volunteers in Fujian as they hold two ceremonies to mark the occasion. But first, we join Mozambique's year-end blessing ceremony.
Here in Mozambique, the year-end blessing ceremony begins with a chorus of joyfulness. While some volunteers accompany disabled care recipients into the venue, other volunteers are preparing and cooking up delicious vegetarian dishes for all to enjoy. Those who had heard about the event from Facebook also came to help ready the rice for distribution. Activities were planned to help children fulfill their filial piety. The foot bathing and tea serving ceremony teaches respecting one's elders, which isn't a lesson specific to Chinese culture. Children then perform a section from the Dharma musical From Vow to Action. Expressing her gratitude to Tzu Chi, a senior care recipient can't help but cry. The play tells the tale of a husband who was against his wife joining in the caring for others. In the end, it was through communication that the husband changed his mind. Lastly, a rice distribution concludes the year-end ceremony here, as recipients and volunteers gather for a picture and a message of thanks. Also holding a year-end blessing ceremony, other Tzu Chi volunteers in Quanzhou, Fujian.
My son's factory sells bottles. This is the money saved from selling liquor bottles. To donate for a good cause.
Every bamboo coin bank returned was filled to the brim.
I saved some money to donate to this good cause.
Making a vow, Hong Ji, who has been in prison 3 times, repents for his past mistakes.
I've decided to quit smoking. Last night, I had my last cigarette.
Xiang Meiyu is another who has changed for the better after watching DaAi TV.
I vow to honor my parents and do my best to express my gratitude to Master Zheng Yan.
Another year-end blessing ceremony was also held in Fuzhou, Fujian at the local Tzu Chi retreat.
Over here is our walkway and Bodhisattva path. When walking on it, our path is bright and clear.
The jingling of the coins into the collection pot is the most beautiful melody. Care recipient Yan Liqin couldn't make it to the year-end ceremony, thus her husband came and said a few words on the family's behalf.
Thank you, Tzu Chi. Without your support, our family would not be so together and blessed today.
Some give while others show gratitude in celebrating the new year, but everyone here is now thankful of their blessings in life.
Since 2012, Tzu Chi has been hosting winter aid distribution in Shandong's Lingyi, with the distributions helping residents in over 200 of the area's villages. This year, over 2,600 families from the city of Lingyi received supplies and love from the volunteers, warming up their nights and giving them hope for the days ahead.
Here in